Hello all and welcome to the official FanTeam podcast brought to you by FanTeam, the biggest daily fantasy site in Europe. My name is Andrew. Today I'm joined by fantasy football expert and guru Wes Prickett, aka FPL Heisenberg. It's great to have you back on, Wes. How's it going?
Yes, all good, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. How was your fantasy season going, Wes?
Yeah, it's going better now. Actually, I think since the last time I was on, wasn't doing too well. But in the FanTeam season-long game, comfortably in the cash positions now. I did have a small red arrow in that last week, but yeah, the season-long game, I'm very confident of a cash finish in that now. And FPL, obviously, our bread and butter is going okay as well. A few green arrows in a row. I did remove Kane and Son this week, but I did bring in KDB, Salah, and Bamford. So it was kind of a removing some big scores and then getting some big scores. So on the whole, not bad.
That's it's really, really tough to try and squeeze in all the big players, and it's
Yeah,
they're all performing. They've all got really good fixtures. They're all so scary not to. So you're going without kind of Kane and Son in the season, lads. I'm going without
yeah.
Salah, and I think that I might be a bit mad. But what do you think that he played 90 minutes last night for his chances of playing the 90 against Fulham? What are you expecting on the weekend?
Well, if this was a kind of if he played under like Pep Guardiola, or if it was a different player, then I'd be more scared. But because it is Salah, and because he's got a history of playing, in his whole time at Liverpool, he's got a history of playing a lot of minutes in Premier League and Champions League. Klopp has obviously been moaning about the fixture schedule, but he didn't remove him. So it's hard to guess. I am confident he'll start because it's Salah. I'm not going to put my mortgage on it, but I equally am going to captain Salah this week in the season-long games. So in the season-long games, I'm going to be captaining Salah this week. But because obviously we've got in the weekly monster that we're doing now, that we'll get onto our teams in a minute, because we've got a choice. I've actually gone for Mane over Salah.
Ooh, we'll have a look. So I've actually gone for Salah, but that's because I don't own him in the season-long games. A bit of kind of cover there.
So you can cover him.
Exactly. So Liverpool, in particular, have got these 3 games in 6 days. I think they're playing Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday lunchtime, and and all the other teams now are going to have lots and lots of games. Are you expecting much rotation, across the league and across the game, or do you think it's always a little bit overhyped?
I think most seasons is a little bit overhyped, and it's nothing to worry about too much if you've got the players in your team who are the sort of the 90-minute men, the likes of Vardy, Kane, players like that on the season-long games are good, because a Grealish, someone like that, Zaha, they're not going to be like rested or rotated on a whim. Whereas players like, maybe your Mahrez, your Jotas, your Fodens, players like that will tend to miss out over the Christmas period. They're not going to play every single game. So I guess now is the time to bring in, or make sure you've got in a lot of those sort of 90-minute men and have a strong bench, obviously, especially in this season with sort of self-isolations that can occur. So, yeah, strong bench is more important now than ever.
You agree, and many thanks for coming on, Wes. So for our YouTube watchers, please remember to click the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and to press the like button if you enjoy our content. So our feature tournament for this podcast and video is the Gameweek 12 weekly monster. We'll be running through the weekend's applicable fixtures and sharing our entries with you today. So our watchers and listeners are aware what it is. It's very similar to the free hit chip in Fantasy Premier League, where you basically pick the best 11 players for the game week that you think will score the most points. Our YouTubers can now see a very festive graphic of the rules, with the main ones being you can build a squad of up to 11 players, must include at least 1 goalkeeper, 3 defenders, 2 midfielders and a forward. You can select up to a maximum of 3 players from any one Premier League team. You have a 105 million budget, so FanTeam have recently increased the budget from 100 million to 105 million to build your 11-man team. The contest starts at 12:30 on Saturday, December the 12th. You pick a captain and a vice captain. Your captain scores double points, and your vice will replace them if he doesn't play, namely Salah. There's a safety net as well, which is a superb thing again in FanTeam. Whereas, just for example, and we're obviously both hoping this doesn't happen for different reasons, if Salah doesn't start, we will get the next best price player for Liverpool, which I'm assuming would be maybe Mane or Jota. would come into our team, and player prices will not change. So for those watching on YouTube, the point scoring matrix is on screen, and as you can see, it's very similar to the season-long FanTeam game and indeed the Fantasy Premier League game. Wes, how similar have you found playing FanTeam to FPL this season overall?
So yeah, I'm finding it very similar in terms of the season-long games on FPL and FanTeam. I'm playing it completely exactly how I'd play FPL. Actually, I know some people are kind of looking a bit more at the intricacies of, the likes of impact points on FanTeam. No, FPL has the bonus point system, FanTeam doesn't. But I'm keeping it simple, bread and butter for forwards and midfielders are goals and assists. So that's like easily transferable. And likewise for defenders, the bread and butter are save points, clean sheets. So that's how I'm playing it. I'm picking from a very small group of players in both games, really. So they're kind of similar, but depending on how my teams have gone, they've gone off in slightly different tangents. But yeah, find it really similar, and I'm doing probably better in FanTeam than FPL, which I'm happy about because there's more money involved. So
something to win, definitely.
Yeah,
I think probably 9 or 10 of my season-long teams are the same. The only major one is Jota is classed as a striker in FanTeam, was obviously classed as a midfielder in FPL. So that's the only kind of slight difference there. But yeah, in the main, and and this was one of the main attractions to me for FanTeam, coming from years of FPL play. I'm basically playing FPL for cash with FanTeam, which is obviously brilliant, and the amount
100%.
of cash involved as well. You're in the money already by the sound of it. I'm just outside, but yeah, there's not much effort every week, is there? To be fair,
no, absolutely not. It's not much effort at all. So yeah, really enjoying it.
Good. So there are 3 full round classic tournaments every game week. One has a prize pool of €10,000 with a guaranteed first prize of €1,000, which you can enter for as little as €2. There is a high roller tournament if you want to play for big money. Our feature tournament for this podcast is the €100,000 prize pool game with a guaranteed €10,000 first prize for a €20 entry, with prizes going all the way down to 1,034th place. So I've managed to cash now in the last 3, I think, which is good. Not like, massive wins.
Lovely.
But, managed to get in the cash. Because the prizes go all the way down as well, you can afford to have a couple of duds in your team. Just a reminder to enter all FanTeam contests. You must be over 18 and be gambleaware.org. Have you had much luck this season, Wes, in the Weekly Monsters yet?
Yeah, I was just about to jump in actually, and say that the last time I was on, which was maybe 3 game weeks ago, something like that, I cashed in that one. Again, not a huge one, but it was kind of close to getting up into the bigger money. But equally, I'm happy to, if I make money from it, from having a bit of fun, and also, like you say, you can pick. You've got Salah this week, which means that if he scores, you're not completely devastated because in FPL and the FanTeam season long, it will hurt you. But in this weekly monster, it could help you make some money. So that's a really nice thing about playing these weekly monsters.
Indeed. So the 9 applicable Premier League matches for this competition are Wolves and Aston Villa, which is the early kickoff on Saturday. We've then got Newcastle versus West Brom, the Manchester Derby at 5:30 on Saturday, which is going to be a fantastic game. Everton Chelsea on the Saturday evening. We've then got Southampton and Sheffield United on Sunday. Crystal Palace against Spurs. Fulham against Liverpool. That massive game at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon, followed by Arsenal versus Burnley and Leicester versus Brighton in the evening. It is worth noting that the Friday evening match between Leeds and West Ham is not applicable for this particular tournament, so the entry deadline will be 12:30 p.m. on Saturday. So we're looking at the fixtures there, Wes. Which ones are you looking at targeting for your players?
So I'm targeting. So one of the fixtures I'm targeting is Southampton versus Sheffield United. Obviously, we kind of, as fantasy managers, including myself, we're always thinking, West Brom and Fulham are the 2 worst teams in the league. And because Sheffield United did so well last year, we kind of put them on a little bit of a pedestal. But if you look at the league table, I'm pretty sure they're, rock bottom of the table now. They are conceding more goals with Ramsdale in, and they've got defensive injuries, haven't they, to Jack O'Connell compared to last year. So they're a weaker unit this year, and they're not scoring many goals. They did score one against Leicester, but in general, they're not. So I've got 2 of the West Ham, what am I talking about? 2 of the Southampton defenders, and I've got Danny Ings up front as well.
Nice.
So that's one of the fixtures I'm targeting. Sorry, go on.
No, I just said that. That's really nice. I really fancy Ings. I'm thinking of bringing Ings into my teams this week because because he's been injured. He's a really good price, and he's just a
Yeah.
goal machine. And he's a really good,
Yeah.
I think, a really good pick, especially this week.
Yeah, and he's on penalties as well, which this
Exactly,
season we know is
massive.
so pivotal. And it'll be nice that if you do that, it'll be one of the only times that you can call Danny Ings differential because he will be brought into many people's teams over the next few weeks, you'd think. And if you're going to do it, might as well do it at home to Sheffield United.
Agree. Yeah, looking at so we've also got Newcastle and West Brom, which I know Newcastle won't have trained or played for a while, but Callum Wilson to me is looking a really nice pick there, and maybe even the Newcastle defence as well. West Brom are really really struggling. Man United Man City I think
Yeah.
is an interesting one because Man United to me have just looked horrible in defence, whereas Man City seem to be kind of slipping through the gears now in attack. So I am interested, in their attack in that one.
Mm.
Palace and Spurs, a bit of a tough one, but just the way that Spurs are playing, they just seem to be kind of finding a way to win in every game. So
Yeah.
potentially looking at Spurs attacker there. Fulham and Liverpool we've already mentioned. You would expect a really high score line for Liverpool in that one. Arsenal and Burnley probably a bit of a snooze fest the way they're playing out. Leicester home to Brighton potentially an interesting one as well. With Leicester playing well, even though Brighton are a good team, they do tend to not keep clean sheets. So you can imagine a goal or two for Leicester there as well. So with this in mind, Wes, I've now
Yeah,
got
absolutely.
your team in front of us on the screen. Could you
Mm.
read through your team, talking through your rationale for your picks?
Yes, I will do. I'll whip through all 11 picks, then I'll go through. So I've got Pope in goal,
Yeah.
Vestergaard, Walker Peters, Reguilon in defence. Mane is captain in midfield with Pascal Gross, Son, Grealish, and then up front it's Ings, Wilson, and Wood. Now the rationale for my picks, again, I'm going to take my time on it this week and probably be tweaking it up until the Saturday deadline. But at the minute, I'm thinking in terms of balancing because obviously it's a fantasy game. You can't just pick, any player you want. There's a budget for a reason, and you've got to be clever. So I've gone for Pope because he's one of the cheaper keepers this week, and he's away at Arsenal, who are just not creating chances at all. Traditionally you'd think Arsenal at home to Burnley, that would normally be like a 2-3-0 win to Arsenal. This season, I'm not too sure. So for value and possibly save points and possibly even a clean sheet, I think Pope could be a good pick. I've gone double Southampton defence that also have a little bit of attacking threat, or quite a lot of attacking threat actually. Vestergaard's got a good 4 goals maybe. Walker Peters obviously won the penalty in the last game, so he's getting forward. And like I've sort of alluded to earlier, Sheffield United just aren't scoring goals. Reguilon for Spurs might be one I might actually tweak him out because of, like I was just saying about sort of the balance in the prices. If I go for a cheaper defender, I could look at upgrading one of my forwards or midfielders. Because obviously we'll get onto your team in a bit, but I'm a bit envious of your stronger
Attack.
midfield for sure. Yeah, so which is always the way when you look at someone else's
It is
fantasy team,
always, isn't
you
it?
just want theirs. Yeah,
Well, I'm looking at
um,
yours already, and I'm thinking
yeah,
I want a couple of your players as well. So it is
yeah.
always the way, isn't it?
But yeah, Reguilon, if I do keep him, obviously he's an attacking defender. Spurs have conceded the least amount of goals in the league. Crystal Palace are better offensively this season, and especially now Zaha's back from his sort of self-isolation layoff. So yeah, I'm not too sure about clean sheet there. So it's a difficult one to call actually, which is why I might swerve him in the end. But let's see. Mane obviously speaks for himself, kind of in terms of usually in fantasy games I prefer Salah, but it's just that 90-minute rest
Like an
virtually a
88
90-minute
minute
rest
rest,
in
all, isn't it?
midweek in the
Yeah.
Champions League. Yeah. Whereas Salah played in 90. I do still think both will play and play the vast majority, but I think Mane's even maybe slightly cheaper on the game as well.
Yes.
So I've gone for him just for sort of the guaranteed of minutes, and he can equally have some weeks. It's those weeks, isn't it, where Mane gets a brace and Salah stays quiet. So, um, and I've got Salah in the season long games, so I'll be happy either way there. Pascal Gross in midfield. He's got, I think it's 2 goals, 2 assists in his last 5. off the back of starting the season, not really getting in the team. Now he's playing 90 minutes virtually every week. He's on penalties. Leicester are conceding goals, not like a hatful of goals, but they are conceding. And again, price wise, he's 7.8 million, so it's a cheapish price compared to the likes of for example, Mane's 14.3, Son's 12.3. So it's a budget option to squeeze into my team.
Really,
but
really
yeah,
good
I'll have another think
mate.
about him.
That's a nice note.
Yeah, I think he could be. Son in midfield, again, we don't really need to talk about him too much. We all know how brilliant he's been. It's just whether they'll get us joy against Crystal Palace, or Crystal Palace defend in a more clever way to Arsenal. I'd guess yes, but equally, Son and Kane seem to be able to score goals and points against anyone. So will they be able to actually stop him, even with a good game plan? Is another question. Grealish obviously has not played for. Sorry, didn't play in the last game week, did he? Because Aston Villa missed out. But in general, his season-long form for club and country has been really good. A decent price at 9 million. Away at Wolves, who aren't as defensively good as they were last season. I haven't actually checked the stats to back that, but it certainly feels like they're maybe conceding a few more than usual. And up front, who have got? Danny Ings as my vice captain. We spoke about him earlier. Callum Wilson. Again, you alluded to how poor West Brom are, and how good Callum Wilson's been really good all season. I had him in the season-long games for a few weeks. I did actually take him out, which is it's ended up being a mistake. I kind of felt like, Wilson's doing okay, but Newcastle aren't creating enough chances, and that's still kind of true. But the chance they do create, he's involved. He's got a crazy high percentage
83% goal involvement for
83,
Newcastle. Incredible.
Yeah,
incredible stat.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And again, in there, they didn't play last week, but the week before, I'm pretty sure, was a goal and assist for both him and Joel Linton, wasn't it? Away at Palace. And then again, to balance the sort of the prices, I've gone for Wood up front, who's only 6.4 million, and it's kind of like Wood's price like that because obviously Burnley don't score too many, and Arsenal are pretty good at the back this season. But I feel maybe Wood aerial presence could potentially nick a goal there. But again, if I can free up some money, he might be one I look to upgrade to the likes of someone like Vardy, who's got Brighton at home, which is a really nice fixture.
Thank you very much. So we've now got my team on screen. So I've gone slightly cheaper at the back, but as Wes alluded to earlier, it's allowed me to get in some bigger players in midfield and attack. So I've gone for Areola. He's becoming a bit of a favourite of mine because you are rewarded in FanTeam for
per save
points, and he's actually a very good keeper, just playing for a very poor team, and he made some really good saves last week against Man City. So I've gone for him again. I don't really mind, if he concedes a few because he's going to make some saves, right?
Points.
So
yeah,
I've gone for him in goals, which obviously frees up a bit.
Frees up some cash. Yeah.
I've gone for James Justin, Leicester home to Brighton. So I haven't owned Justin, so it's a nice opportunity for me actually to get him into one of my teams. He always looks very, very. I think he's a fantastic player. He looks very attacking. I think he is at risk of losing his place soon with Pereira back, but at the moment he's nailed home to Brighton. I think there's a chance of a clean sheet, but I also think there's a chance there potentially attacking return. Completely agree with you.
He's not priced back. He's not priced too badly either, is he?
No, he's decent. 7.
Sorry, I was just saying that he's priced quite nicely.
Yeah, he is. You're right. I agree with you with Southampton, definitely home to Sheffield United, and Walker Peters obviously got the assist on the weekend. Very, very dodgy assist against Brighton, where he was clearly fouled outside the area. I'm not sure what happened there, but he's very attack. He's much better offensively than defensively, I think, isn't he? So
yeah.
And I've gone for Ben Mee, who is one of the cheapest players actually in the game this week at 4.8 million. But to your point earlier with Pope, they're away to Arsenal. Arsenal's XG is one of the worst in the league. I think their XG over the last sort of 6 games is something like 1 or 2. They're absolutely awful.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
So they do have an outside chance of a clean sheet. He's also pretty good at set pieces, on corners as well. So. Pure budget pick, but an outside chance here, of getting some points at both ends of the pitch. But having that cheap defence does allow me then to have a bit of a premium front 7. So I've gone for Bruno Fernandes, 8.9 million this week, obviously priced as per the fixture at home to Man City. But as we've seen all season, Bruno can score points against anyone, and I think all he needs is a penalty, a free kick, some kind of sideways pass assist, whatever it is. I do think he can get something against Man City. I expect Man City to beat them and beat them well, but
he's just involved in everything, isn't he? That you just feel like. What was it? Again, I can't remember the exact stat off the top of my head, but he came off the bench obviously against West Ham, so he's had his kind of rest now as well. And he created 8 chances or the most chances of a substitute or something? Yeah, it was crazy.
He's also scored the most fantasy Premier League points out of the whole game since he joined Man United, which again speaks volumes, right? He's just Mr. Consistent every single week. I've gone for Salah as captain at the moment. Again, it's just a bit of because I don't own him in my season-long team, stick him into there. But I put De Bruyne as well, who is 12.2, which I think is quite cheap this week. Like I say, they're priced because they're away to Man United at Old Trafford. But that, to me, at the moment, I don't think is a scary place for Man City. As I kind of mentioned earlier, they were awful defensively against Leipzig. I just don't think, Maguire, even Wan-Bissaka, was really, really poor midweek. Lindelof, he's kind of a bit up and down. Shaw and Telles, they can't nail down that left-back spot. De Gea's confidence. I mean, the third goal they let in, which eventually proved to be the decisive goal. Have you ever seen him, turn his back like that? It was very, very strange. So I think De Bruyne can actually have a lot of joy, and I think Man City will put Man United to the sword. And they've also had a week's rest. So Man City's first team were all rested last night in Champions League, whereas Man United's first team all played on Tuesday. So I think De Bruyne might actually be a kind of outside chance for a captaincy shout if you don't own Salah. Agree with you on Grealish. Wolves, even though they played 5 at the back last week against Liverpool, they have changed to a 4-4-2 to try and score more goals. I think they're missing Jimenez up front, as that kind of hold-up player, as well as the superb goal 100%. Scorer he is. They can't keep the ball. These youngsters of Neto, Podence and Fabio Silva, who are all, 18, 19, 20 years old. They haven't got the experience to hold the ball up. It's just attack after attack. Grealish, he's been absolutely sensational. And outside chance of being on penalties as well, now that Watkins missed the last one. I still think that Watkins will have them.
Yeah.
But,
I think Grealish could take penalties because Watkins has missed 4 out of his last 6. Yeah, I remember they showed a graphic on the TV, when just before he actually missed, and I'd noticed that he'd already missed a fair few penalties, so it could easily move on. If it's going to be anyone, I guess it's going to be a Grealish. So yeah, you're right, he could have penalties.
There are rumours that he doesn't actually kind of fancy taking them, which for him, for someone who's so exuberant in the way he plays football, does kind of strike me as quite strange.
Yeah,
we'll see. Up front 3, so I've gone for Ings and Wilson, same as you. Both got plum home fixtures, nailed on for night. I say that, I'm hoping Ings starts. He should start. He looked very sharp when he came on last week. They're the talisman for their teams. Yeah. Wonderful strikers. And Vardy as well. So, another really nice home game on penalties. So actually,
good picture, yeah.
Actually, looking at that, I hadn't even realised, but 6 of the front 7, excluding Grealish, are all on penalties as well, which is quite a nice thing to have in the back pocket because as we all know, you don't have to play well to score a penalty, especially this season in the Premier League. Yeah, but I do like your Vestergaard pick. He's dangerous, isn't he?
He is, and he can pop up with a goal, but I'm definitely leaning towards the idea of look at my sort of how many penalty takers I've got. It's only Ings, Wilson, and Pascal Gross. Does Wood take them for Burnley? I'm not even sure. Burnley don't ever seem to win them.
No, they don't, but he does when they're on them. Yeah, he does.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you've got you've got that more explosive potential in those forwards by going a little bit cheap in the back, but you haven't even, you've both gone along the same lines with the Burnley clean sheet.
Yeah.
But I'm paying a little bit more to get my Burnley clean sheet. So I think I could do a jiggling around a little bit, which is why I like doing these videos because I always seem to improve my teams when I do.
Cool, that's good. And same for me as well. We've both been playing fantasy football a long time. We both know intricacies. Yeah. So I think between the two of us, we normally end up with a kind of combined, really, really good team.
A decent team, yeah. Yeah,
Would there...
and also hopefully the people watching can do can kind of do the same. Maybe they've already got a draft done and they'll watch our video and be like, oh, actually, yeah, I can make it better, because you can always, well, not always, but you can work on your team and hopefully make it better and bigger chance of winning cash.
You can, mate, indeed. Were there any other players that didn't quite make the cut for you? Any, you know, that you're thinking, oh, actually, maybe now, you know, I think it'd be a good shout.
Yeah, and again, it's just sort of the squeezing everything financially. So again, it's De Bruyne, because I've not got any Man City players, but that's not because I think that Man United is a fixture. I completely agree with you, which is why I brought in the season-long games, I brought in Patrick Bamford, because out of his next 5 fixtures now, they're really good. And, you know, it looks like Man United's their only hard one on paper, but I'm thinking to myself, Man United isn't like exactly like you alluded to, they're conceding goals. It's not Fergie's Man United. It's a new Man United that aren't anywhere near as, you don't have to fear that fixture, is my overall point. So yeah, I'm not anti-City players at all. It was just squeezing in the likes of De Bruyne. So yeah, I would really like him in. So again, if I can free up some money, I will be bringing De Bruyne in.
I think this is the first week for me where I kind of picked a 9 or 10, and I looked at the budget I had left, and I had 9 million. I just had a quick look who's top of the 9 million list, and it was Grealish, and I was just like, wow, you can't get much better than that. And he was kind of 11th player. So yeah, I've got quite confident, I think, this week. You know, kind of looking at, obviously anything can happen, which is the beauty of football and the implications on fantasy football. But I might put in a couple of entries this week with some slight variations, maybe on captaincies and things like that. I may put Mane instead of Salah in another team, for example. You know, I think that Jesus is pretty nailed on to start as well this weekend, because Pep said last night that Aguero definitely is not going to start, and Jesus was rested.
Aguero's not ready.
So, exactly. Yeah. So I think, you know, he might be one as well. You know, especially because United so poor in the air as well, off crosses. You know, he's really good off cross. Which is why I fancy De Bruyne and Jesus. Cool, okay. So that is it from us for this episode. All the links are below for all the games we have discussed today. Hopefully they have helped you and given you, you know, kind of whetted your appetite to enter some teams and try and win some big money, which FanTeam are really putting out all the stuff to provide us with all some wonderful fantasy tournaments for the weekend in these difficult times. Thank you so much, Wes, for joining me this week. We'll have you on again very soon.
Pleasure.
Any final last words of wisdom for our watchers and listeners?
Words of wisdom. Firstly, enjoy it. It's fantasy football, isn't it? It's there to be enjoyed. So pick players that you want to see score goals. So, you know, if you're not a big fan of Man United, then, you know, get 3 City players in there, watch that game and cheer your players on. So yeah, add the excitement in, and hopefully it ends up with you know, it's a small amount of money to buy in, and you could win big. So enjoy it and try and win some cash.
Definitely. Instead of sticking a 5 or a 10 on some stupid 24 team accumulator, have a real chance of, you know, making your money work for you with this, as it has done for me over the last few weeks. Really enjoying not just the playing, but actually looking and seeing, you know, that you know, in the cash, which is obviously
doing well.
So to all our watching listeners, remember that if you like what you watch, please press the like button, and remember to subscribe to the channel at the bottom right corner of the screen. If you're listening on a podcast, please rate the podcast. That would be really useful, and leave a comment. So this podcast will be available as a video on the FanTeam YouTube channel, and available as an audio podcast on all major podcast libraries, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Just search for official FanTeam podcast from wherever you get your podcasts. Our website is fanteam.com. Our Twitter handles are @FanTeamOfficial and @FanTeam_UK. Give us a follow for regular game updates and for entry giveaways for lots of other FanTeam competitions. We will be back next week, looking ahead to another weekly monster competition. The very best of luck this coming game week. Goodbye for now.